Okay, we've talked about addition and subtraction of integers. Let's move on to multiplying and dividing. You're going to like this. It's not that bad. Let's start with some basics. The opposite of light, remember, is dark. Actually, we're going to talk about that today. The opposite of dark is light. Well, you know the opposite of a negative is a positive, and the opposite of positive is negative. Okay, well, bear with me. Consider, what is the opposite of an opposite? We kind of talked about that before. Or, what is the opposite of an opposite? Holy mackerel.
Allow me to demonstrate.
Well, consider this. Think of a light switch with the lights on. That's positive, okay? We're going to think of a light switch with the lights on. Now, if we flip it once, if we do its opposite once, the lights are off. Okay, simple. Let's start again. Same light with the lights on. That's positive. What if we flip it twice in a row? Once is off. If we hit it again, we end up back where we were, don't we? What if we flipped it 4 times in a row? What would happen? Off for 1, back on for 2, off for 3, back on for 4. When we hit it 4 times, we ended up back on, didn't we? What if we flip it 5 times? We're going to break the switch, but let's just do it. Once is off, twice is on, 3 times is off, 4 times is on, 5 times. I couldn't resist, but 5 times is off. Now stay with me on this. If we actually went to the trouble, and we're not going to do it, and flipping that switch 300 times, I want you to predict whether the light would be on or off. What if it was 301 times? Predict that. Well, I hope you've got the idea that if we flip the switch an even number of times, we're going to end up right back where we were with the lights on, aren't we? If we flip it an odd number of times, it's going to end up off. Well, we can use that to multiply and to divide. Most of us know how to multiply. It's the sign that gives us the trouble. So consider, we're going to use the principle of opposites. That's the way we're going to think of a negative, as an opposite. When we multiply and divide signed numbers, the integers, what I want you to do is count how many negatives there are in the problem. If that number, the number of negatives that are in the problem, is even, your answer will be positive.
Hey, that's just crazy enough to work.
If that number is odd, your answer will be negative. And that's what's going to decide whether your answer is positive or negative. Okay, well, let's try this idea. Well, 5 times 3, but it should work all the time. 5 times 3, how many negatives are there? There's none. 0. And the number 0, it's divisible by 2, is even. So that means the answer is positive 15. Well, you knew that. I just want to make sure that you understood that it worked. What about negative 5 times 3? How many negatives are there in that problem? There's only 1. And the number 1 is odd. So we knew 15 was involved here. We also know the answer is negative 15, because every time we have an odd number of negatives, the answer is negative. What about 5 times negative 3? Well, it's still, there's only one negative, so, and one is odd. The answer is still negative 15. Now in this problem, we've got how many negatives? 2 negatives. They're going to undo each other. 2 is even. So the answer, negative 5 times negative 3, is a positive 15. Now what if we have more than 2? For instance, in this problem, 2 times 3 times 4. I'm sorry, negative 2 times negative 3 times negative 4. How many negatives are there? Well, there's 3, and 3 is an odd number. So the answer is going to end up being negative something. Well, what's 2 times 3 times 4?
No problemo.
It's going to be negative 24. And this problem doesn't matter where the negatives are. It matters how many there are. This one has 2 negatives. 2 is even. So all of this is going to come to a positive 24. Now what about division? Well, division is going to work the exact same way. Let's start with an easy one. 15 divided by 3. How many negatives are there? Well, there's none. 0 is even. And of course you knew the answer to this. Is 5, but not just 5, positive 5. Because an even number of negatives gives you a positive answer. They undo each other. Consequently, negative 15 divided by 3, we know 5's involved, but how many negatives are there here? There's only 1. 1 is an odd number, so the answer is negative 5. Doesn't matter where the negative is. Same answer in this problem with the negative with the 3. There's only 1 negative, and 1 is odd. So once again, the answer is negative 5. Now if I have a negative with both of them, of course we have 2 negatives, and 2 is even, so they undo each other. That answer ends up being a positive 5. Now, even a mixture of these, multiplication and division, still it's going to work. This has 3 negatives, and then all you have, so the answer is going to be negative. All you have to do is figure out is what is 12 times 3, and then divide by 4. This one's going to be a negative 9. 12 times 3 is 36, divided by 4 is 9. We have 3 negatives. 3 is odd, so the answer is negative. In this one, we only have 2 negatives, same numbers. 2 is even, so the answer in this case changes to positive 9. Hopefully you get the idea. So, try to do your homework.
We'll leave the light on for you.
Get to it.